Good evening, everybody out there in internet land, and welcome to another episode of Screen Time Continuum. I am Nick, and I am joined, as always, by Keilyn. How you doing, man?
Can't complain. It's a great Sunday. How you doing over there?
Nah, I can't complain either. Everything's good. Kind of a lazy Sunday for me, but that's a good thing. I'm actually pretty happy about that. I was doing a lot of stuff yesterday, so I'm glad to just be relaxing today.
Got a day off. See, that's a great Sunday.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and thank you guys so much for listening. We very much appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in with us this evening, or whenever you're playing this video back. We are going to have a conversation about the 5th episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And this just came out on Friday, I believe, right? We're current with them, right? Yes.
Right. Yeah, we are. I want to say they come out on Thursday evenings, but I'm never like on.
Yeah. Me neither. I usually catch up on the weekend. So yeah, we're gonna talk about the 5th episode this evening. I don't know, Keilyn, what do you got to say off the bat? It's a different tone shift for this episode. Not exactly as action packed, but that's to be expected because we just had a major action sort of episode. To me, this felt a little bit more like a calm moment with a little bit of chance to let the characters breathe a little bit, which I thought was pretty cool. There are some things that I have questions about, but we can get into that.
For sure. I didn't have a problem with the episode. I have a problem from this episode with the season or the series in general. And my question is, how do you introduce so much when we only have one episode left?
That's kind of exactly the way I was feeling too. I kind of felt like, oh, this probably should have been in like the 2nd episode or something like that. Right. You know what I mean? Like there was a couple
at least the information.
Yeah, well, and they kind of introduced a couple of concepts too that I feel like, oh, well, how's that going to wrap up in one episode? So, do you have what do you want to jump into first?
I mean, let's start right off the bat. They go in and they like just how it comes in, right? They come in after John's taken off running, and I guess he's thinking he's gonna hide or think it out or whatever he's planning.
Yeah.
And Sam and Bucky go talk to him, but they already know how this is gonna go. I don't think Bucky expects this to go any way except the way that it's gonna happen, or the way that it does happen. For the first time in this series, at least, I think we saw the downside of Sam's understanding this. It's like you want to be understanding, and he wants to chop your head off.
Yeah.
There's nothing to understand.
He was going to kill him for sure. Yeah, and I think I think Bucky was a little bit upset about that at the end of the fight too. You know, like he's I mean, I don't know if he's upset, but I think he kind of like is partially upset, but partially understands that he has the same sort of code as you know Cap did back in the day, where it's like, you know, he doesn't want to hurt somebody if he doesn't have to.
That's not, but this isn't that world. That world died 90 years ago when Steve was born as Captain America.
Yeah, that's fair. That's definitely fair. It's definitely a different world, and there's definitely a lot to deal with. I have a question because I had heard in the rumor mill, maybe not the rumor mill, but like people talking about it who are a part of this series, talking about the 5th episode being something that was going to be like gigantic. Did I miss something gigantic? I think there was like, I think the cliffhanger we leave off to is pretty big, but I'm trying to figure out if I'm missing. I understand the social commentary that they were doing in this episode, but there was it led me to believe that there was going to be this big like emotional moment, and I guess we get that with Isaiah a little bit, but I don't know if I missed something.
I guess I would have to ask the question in 2 terms. So is it something super surprising and altering to the comic book world, or is it something super surprising and altering to the social world? And that's why, you know, based on what you just brought up, that whole moment with Isaiah, the explanation, here's the reality of that moment with Isaiah. That is one of those things that we all are aware is, I'll use the word necessary, because there are other things that have been ignored, right? And one of the main things that's been ignored is the fact that a lot of comic book lore is based on things that actually happen in real life. So I'll just leave it at that without having a deep dive on that, right? If you saw the episode, you understand. If you don't know what they were talking about in the episode, just Google it. There's plenty of history for you to catch up
Oh,
on.
certainly. Yeah. And
But
I
then you have
definitely, yeah. No,
no,
I
go ahead, go
definitely
ahead.
understand. I definitely got the sort of the social commentary, and I thought that it was pretty good.
Mhm.
I've struggled to kind of think about how it's going to, and like you said, I don't know how all of this is going to tie together in one more episode. It feels like
Right.
it feels to me like there's more to discuss about that whole topic, you know, and
Way more. And I'll be
yeah,
honest, this is how I know they're not going to really discuss it any further, is the way they capped off the discussion, so to speak, is having Bucky apologize to Sam for he and Steve not having the forethought to consider what it was like or what it could be to even ask a black man to take the shield.
yeah.
And I think that is the social big whoa, like they did
Mhm.
that. Did specifically, let's be clear,
Yeah.
specifically the big whoa, Disney did that.
Yeah. Which I understand. Yeah, yeah, I definitely get it because, you know, that's something that isn't necessarily front and center in any of the Marvel stuff. So
Exactly.
I understand the social commentary there for sure. I just was wondering because there was somebody that was saying like, oh, they cried and stuff like that, and I was like, okay,
I could see
I
somebody crying.
I could see somebody crying with the Isaiah stuff because it was very emotional.
Mhm.
I could see somebody crying with like the sort of like the happiness of when you know, the town rallies together to help Sam build the boat with his sister.
Yep.
I
Yep.
thought that was really nice and sweet.
I
So I
think
guess
that was
yeah.
uh-huh. No, I was just gonna say I think that was a big hit towards the social connection of
Hmm.
specifically the South.
Right.
Um, I can't really speak for the Midwest. I know back in the East, on the East Coast, you know, they have some of that, but down south, that is like a way of life. Yeah, I want to say
Mm.
today it kind of still is really a way of life, but historically, that has always just been the town raises your kids, the town, you know, you guys grew up together. That's just, and it
Yeah.
happens a lot in bigger cities, but in small towns in the South, that's just a thing.
Yeah, I like that. I thought it was really kind of heartwarming. You know, Sam calls in his favors, you know, I guess because Sam and Sarah's parents were
Mhm,
big in the community. So a
mhm.
lot of the community members, you know, owed them one. And so Sam decides to kind of call in those favors.
Those
And
favors, right?
I thought that was really sweet. And I thought it was sweet that Bucky joined in too, you know. And that's kind of where I like this episode because it was like a breather, you know. We could take a
Right. Oh,
moment to actually
definitely.
like live in this world instead of like having things flying at us and fighting and all that stuff.
Right. And so I enjoyed their connection, a lot of heartfelt moments,
Hmm.
maybe a little too much, but a much needed feel good break.
Yes,
Much needed feel
absolutely.
good break.
Yeah.
Um, White Wolf might want to chill out, flirting with Sarah. Just, you know.
Yeah, Sam told him so too.
Yeah, oh yeah, he did. You're right, he did. Because even
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, hold on, Sarah, what you coworker? You don't do that. That's a
Yeah,
coworker.
right. Well, you
But
know,
yeah, you got to meet somehow in life, right?
that's right. Yeah.
Um, so I thought all of that was very necessary for the building of the. It makes me wonder where are they going to be next in the movies?
Yeah,
Where are
that's
they
a
going
good
to be
question.
together in the movies? Because they're building this very Captain America and James Bond or Steve Rogers James Barnes relationship.
Hmm.
They're building a
Yeah.
very Steve and James, and then I notice I'm changing the names there. Steve and James relationship.
Well, and they even kind of allude to that too when Bucky and Sam kind of part ways at the end of this episode where they're
Oh,
talking
you're
about
right.
how,
That was a
yeah, you know, we have a friend in common and we're kind of like
Mhm.
coworkers, so we're just a couple of
but we
guys,
not
you know.
but we're not partners.
Right, right, yeah. You
Uh-huh.
know, they're being
Yeah.
reluctant with, you know, being nice to each other, but obviously they care about each other. So
Oh, clearly, and I like the cinematography of that shot of them walking away from one another.
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like I feel like Sam, I mean, Bucky and Steve had a very similar walk off, but
Mm,
not in the sense of the friendship of it all. I want to say it was in the midst of like him still being the Winter Soldier, something similar, like a shot that was very similar happened.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, I could see that for sure. Yeah, I thought it was nice. It was a nice kind of change of pace, but there were some things that were added in. I think the Isaiah thing probably needs to be addressed at some point, because
I think it needs like 3 more episodes.
It seems like too big of a thing to kind of like just give it a 10-minute scene. And maybe they plan on doing something about that in the future. I think that would be a really interesting show for sure.
Here's what I see coming with Isaiah specifically, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know how, but it's the grandson.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. The grandson is going to at some point become I don't think he's going to be a mutant. I think he's going to be like Sam. Mm-hmm. He's just going to be that good. Who knows? Sam may mentor him.
Yeah, maybe.
But I think it's going to be like Sam. And then at some point, it's going to be like a John situation, but in a good guy way. Like he's going to, at some point in his tenure of serving, he's going to be able to become a super soldier by choice. Right. Or maybe not by choice. Who knows? It could be, I think I actually know how. I want to say it's a blood transfusion from his grandfather. I don't know how I know that, but that just popped. I don't know. I really don't know how I know that.
Yeah, that could make sense for sure.
Maybe I think that's his story. That could be a different story, but I think they're going somewhere in that route. And not Isaiah, but his grandson is going to pop up in another show or another series somewhere.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. It seems as though there's more to explore in that sort of story arc. So
right, and I'm not sure as far as what. No, yeah.
Yeah. That's all I was going to say. Is just it'd be interesting to see what happens with that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think what they're going to do for with that though, just the way my brain just caught this, because I don't know why. I know I've read that somewhere. I've had to because it wouldn't have just popped to my head that way. And I'm thinking what ends up happening or what's going to happen is going to be very much so like they did. What's that? The Flash and Arrow and all of that on the CW or WB or whichever era you're in.
Yeah.
But how they did that, or even like Smallville, how you just had the different not the different universes, excuse me, but the different heroes from the universes kind of started intersecting. Like, oh, I'm passing through your town. Oh, you're in this town. I know you from over here. That kind of stuff's gonna happen.
Yeah, I could see it for sure. And so we get this. Obviously, John Walker gets stripped of his title as Captain America after getting beaten up by Bucky and Sam at the same time, but not before John Walker rips Sam's wings off. Which,
and that's what I was going to say. He deserved to get pummeled the way he did after ripping the wings.
Yeah, and I think, that was very symbolic gesture of Sam having to get rid of the wings in order to actually take the Captain America mantle.
Got to get rid of those kids' toys, man.
Yeah.
And which I don't think that's actually what happened. I'll explain that later, though.
And, he passes the wings on to his buddy in the military. Joaquin, yeah. So he'll probably likely be the new Falcon. Yeah. Do you
I think
so?
He'll be the new wingman. Like maybe he'll be wingman. Like that'll actually be his name, wingman, or something like that. Or they'll just call him Red Wing. Maybe he'll just be Red Wing.
Maybe, but kind of like a Robin to the Batman sort of thing.
Correct. I think what's gonna happen is, this is what I believe. Sam has 2 vibranium weapons now: the shield and vibranium set of wings that he retrieved when Bucky asked for a favor after he turned in Zemo, which we'll talk about in a minute. And that favor he asked from Io was for Shuri to make a new set of wings that couldn't be ripped because they're made of vibranium.
Yeah, could they have just put that in the actual scene or the episode, because they cut that off right at the end and then they put it in the post credits, I'm assuming, right?
No, they just cut it off and we did not actually see the wings. The post credits was John. Making his shield.
So my understanding of it was that the Wakandans made him a new cap suit.
Oh, maybe. Okay. Ooh.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I think that's at least that's what I thought. Because if he wanted to keep the wings, then he would have kept the wings. But I really think that the Wakandans, Bucky had the Wakandans design him a new captain suit.
A new capsule because he's
Yeah.
not a superhuman, so it can withstand some of the
Yes.
impact and
So
force.
you have some of the T'Challa technology in that.
That
Yeah.
absorption technology. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Ooh, that
Mm-hmm.
would be awesome. Especially
Yeah.
because, see, I think something that was exposed in this particular episode, in my opinion, is the fact that the average human can get nearly superhuman abilities with just very hard training. Well, if you're capable, like everybody's body won't be able to get pushed to the peak.
Yeah.
But there are a select few. So far, we've seen Steve, who was pretty much able to do it before the. Well, I lie. Excuse me, John.
Yeah. John
You have
and
Sam.
Sam. Yeah.
You have again, and I think I bring him up quite often, but back to the Abomination. He was quite the specimen before the gamma treatment.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
before the serum, before anything, he was off the charts. He was the number one in everything. And the only thing that really questioned him, I never remember his name. But the worst thing about the soldier that was turned to the Abomination was that he doubted himself. On test wise, he was off the charts, but he doubted himself.
Right.
So that's all common. That's all Marvel. So it just makes me realize, like, okay, in the Marvel universe, a superhuman and a regular human, aside from training, they're not that far different. It's just like three humans in one body, basically.
Yeah, at least in the Marvel universe, because it would
seem
that's what
that in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, it would seem that Sam has, some level of super agility, but he's just a regular dude. So, I mean, he's doing flips and throwing a shield around at tree trunks and stuff.
Right. I had a couple of sports jokes, but I'm just gonna keep them to myself.
I mean,
no, exactly.
So he's definitely top tier athletic. That's for sure.
Right.
And then so what else was I going to get to? There was something else I was going to.
You had that other really big thing that everybody was talking about, or that you may have heard in the gallery. And so I think the one thing was Isaiah, of course, and how that goes. The other thing is La Contessa Valentina Allegra.
Right. That's exact. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, that was another kind of
Julia Louis-Dreyfus, which
Louis-Dreyfus. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, cast her.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I'm interested. I was instantly hooked when they introduced the character. I want to know more about her. I suspect we'll find more about her, but it's also like, oh, you guys saved. I mean, like, I hope she comes back at some capacity. Why would you create such a great character just for one episode?
Her entire character is a mystery.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've actually heard of her character. Her entire character is a mystery.
Well, that's cool. I'm cool with that. I mean, like, I would like it. Maybe she just pops up in every like Marvel series from now on, and she's just like trying to recruit people.
Right. So what I heard or what I've read that people believe for the show at least is that they're replacing Hydra with whatever entity she works for. But from what I had heard and what made me look her up from the comic books, because I kept thinking like she's just like CIA or something, but we don't know if she's CIA or anything. She is literally just considered a secret agent. That's it. That's all. Yeah, that's it.
Well, she says she's a Contessa too, so that's a countess, and so she obviously has some sort of royalty as well. So she could be a part of. She could be a part of like the Illuminati sort of structure within the Marvel universe.
It's like she would basically be the new Baron Zemo, though.
Yeah, she could be. Yeah, poor Baron. He was just. I kind of felt bad. I kind of felt bad about it, but I think it was interesting that the Dora Milaje, they agreed to send him to the raft instead of killing him.
Wow, which I was like, kill me. Don't send me to the raft.
I know.
Kill me. The raft? Listen, there's no escaping the raft. You might as well just let them cut your tongue and your eyes out if you're going to the raft, because you don't want to have to be there.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Well, and it would seem that Bucky made that deal with them in order to
yeah,
have him
to
go and
keep him
not
alive.
be killed. Yeah.
Yeah. He definitely, and the thing is, what I enjoyed about that scene is he pops up on Zemo. He makes him think he's going to kill him to basically prove I'm not that person anymore.
Yeah.
And then to top that off, to hand him over to the Dora, and then for Zemo to tell him, like, I took the liberty of crossing myself off, and don't feel bad about, like, I understand you did what you think you had to do. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no hard feelings here. And it's like, wow. And I believe that there's no hard feelings. I actually believe that.
Well, and we really have to think about it. Like Baron Zemo wasn't a bad guy until Ultron dropped Sokovia on itself.
This is true. So he
Like,
was more of a revenge guy than a bad guy.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he did some awful things, but he wasn't doing awful things before Sokovia got, destroyed. So
Correct.
yeah.
Now,
But yeah, so what else we got?
What did you think of the way the GRC and that GRC meeting, but the way that they're handling the camps? And what do you officially think now that we have a little insight into that entire structure, the way that they're set up? Because that, excuse my language, guys, but that shit looks worse than a UN.
Oh yeah, well, it's definitely supposed to represent that bureaucracy machine that doesn't care about people. I'm still not I'm not sold on the Globe Smashers. I don't know what their ends are. What is their end goal? What is their end goal?
I don't think they understand. Okay, so I think they believe that their end goal is to simply carve a place that is made for them without realizing that that end goal means you have to remove somebody else.
Yeah, and I mean it's just so silly to me because I'm like I'm trying to see like what their values are, but it's like
they're being led by a 19-year-old girl.
Yeah, and at the one point when Carly is making that speech when they're in that courtyard, I just thought to myself, why can't you guys just go get jobs? You know what I mean? Like
they're being led by a 19-year-old girl.
Yeah, I mean, but like that's
she's
my question.
Also, let's remember she's hurt. They're all hurt.
Yeah, but we haven't seen what the GRC has done that is so evil to these people. That's my whole problem. Is like I don't understand what the GRC has done to these people that makes Carly think that destroying the world is a good idea.
Well, okay, so I remember, what was that, episode 1 or 2? The general concept is when the half of the world was blinked away. Basically, they got to enjoy the privileges of what Thanos was talking about.
Right.
If there's less people, everybody has an equal amount. Everybody has some. We all work together to rebuild. And that's what she was talking about, was when the blink happened, those 5 years, people came from across the world to help total strangers. And the moment everybody came back, they just went back to normal. And the people who didn't matter before, it didn't matter again. But now you've had 5 years of people actually helping you and caring about you.
That's such a convoluted. That's so convoluted. Yeah. Okay, hold on, because
I don't think they're going to get back to what they want. But I get you. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, it's good. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it because their whole idea is one people, one planet, right? But they're against the global repatriation center, the people that are trying to get the people that were blinked back into existence to where they were before. So it's like, what do you have? You don't care about the people that came back that were disappeared for 5 years.
Essentially, no. You know, essentially that is her point, is they don't care because how did they get priority over her? That's how she felt. Or
because they were because they existed 5 years ago before the snap. It's not like there's just new people that were created.
Right. I think it's one of those things where when you don't have the experience for the other side, you just don't get it. Right.
I guess.
So like even like Sam was actually blinked out.
Yeah.
So he gets it. He gets what she's going through as a black man raised in the South and from the South. And he gets what everybody else is going through because he blinked out. Like he wasn't around to do anything and take care of anybody. And then he came back and had to figure it out. So for him to see that there's an organization.
But this is why this is a dumb concept, because the Globe Smashers want to create a one world, one people sort of utopia. But they're literally fighting against people and refugees, and they literally don't want these refugees to go back to their lives.
Right. or at least they don't want the government to be the people to give them back those lives. That part, I get you.
Pick a lane. Pick a lane. Which side are you on? It's like you chose like the far left and then the far right. It's like you're like a far right, person because you don't like the refugees, and then you're far left because you want like a one world, one people thing. Which are you?
I don't know if they don't like the refugees as much as because this is what the part I'm not understanding. Some refugees are people who blinked back and came back, and some refugees are people who were already there. So if you're all the same people, that's how I actually came to the same level of confusion that you're talking about. Because I was like, wait, so there is no difference. Like, so it's really all about status. It's about when you came back, the people who you knew, where were they in life? Like, could you latch on to what they were doing or not?
Well, it's the people that got to stick around for those 5 years during the blip. They all just got really used to less traffic and less people, and so they feel like these people shouldn't come back, which is ridiculous. It's a ridiculous idea.
You mean like essential workers?
Yeah, exactly, like essential workers. Yeah, there are some people out there who would be happy if things never went back to normal, and it's just like, come on.
It's weird that you said that, and we've been talking on and off through this entire series of those little notes of the things we're really going through, being in this particular season. Mm-hmm. And that just jumped out to me when you said that, like, oh, crap.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that could be a commentary for sure, but it's like it doesn't lend
to the storyline. I get you.
Yeah, it doesn't fit with the villain's sort of MO, so that's why I'm still kind of like about the Globe Smashers. I just don't think that they don't have a cohesive philosophy. I
don't think so, because every episode another one of them is asking Carly, so what are we doing? What is the purpose of this?
Right, exactly. She's the only one that knows, apparently.
Because the 19-year-old girl is in charge. Now, you ever questioned a 19-year-old girl? Mm-hmm.
No.
Do you remember being a 19-year-old boy?
Yeah, I'm sure it would still be as confusing. I'm sure
that part right there.
Right.
Like, you knew at 19 as a boy not to question a 19-year-old girl. I know you know better today.
I mean, I wouldn't even question my 19-year-old self. I knew nothing. So, you know what I mean? Like, I was stupid back then. I'm still stupid, but I'm just a little bit less stupid.
We all learn as we go. Hopefully we've endured some of the right things to get the right concepts through.
Absolutely.
But at I'm with you at 19. I'm not listening to anyone, male or female, at 19, and that is my point.
Yeah, she's just a little mini Thanos. But we do find out that she has some help in Sharon. Apparently, Sharon has been helping the Globe Smashers this whole time.
Yeah. That's what I figured. That's when she so that we have a problem and all of that. That might have been her talking to them.
Yep. Absolutely. And then she calls the French guy to meet up with Carly. So
right. And then so to add to that, you also have when she found John. Now I'm thinking she didn't find John because she was able to track John. She had monitor on that building already.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
So it's like that's why she couldn't tell Sam until the very last minute, because then once he entered into where she had control, she knew he was there.
Right. And I don't know. And that's another little element that kind of is like, okay, so you're going to wrap that up in an episode 2. One episode, you're going to let us know that Sharon is like this double agent. Is she a good guy? Does she care about Sam at all? Or is she just playing him for this whole thing? Does she feel the same way Carly does? I mean, because maybe she feels the same way Carly does, that she wants to kill the rest of half the planet so that they can have less traffic.
That is possible. Yeah, because she was kind of exiled, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so,
maybe.
I mean, essentially,
maybe.
She was exiled for trying to save the world.
Right. Of course. So she's probably got a chip on her shoulder about that, and she wants to get rid of half of the planet, because that's what you do when you're a smart person. You realize that humans are just a plague on the world, and we should just get rid of them all. I'm so tired of that trope, man. I'm so tired of the get rid of all humans trope. It's like, come on, can we get a villain that actually cares about something else?
It's still what we did with Doc. Oh, that's not this show. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but you also just referenced one of the greatest jokes of all time in my mind. So hey.
What's that?
How humans are a cancer to the world, to the planet.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the
Hmm.
Agent Smith fallacy. That's what I like
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
call it. Yeah. I think that it's a tired trope. It's like I get it. I get
No,
it.
it's been
Humans are
overdone. Yeah.
terrible. It's been way overdone, man. It's been done since the 90s, and it's like, all right, we get it, man.
And
Maybe
here's my
have a little bit
question:
more
Is
depth.
are humans really terrible? I mean, we keep making movies about them.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. And who's going to help get us out of the problems that we are facing? Humans. So maybe don't kill
Gotcha.
everybody.
Right.
Like it's just such a
So
stupid concept.
right. No, I get it. So I have a couple of super soldier related questions, I'll say, because of the two people these questions are related to.
Okay.
Um, First I'll start with John, just to get him out of the way.
Hmm.
Do you feel, well, two things. One, do you think his wife knows what La Contessa was talking about when she said, "Oh, I know you took the serum"? Don't worry about how she knows all that. She works for a secret organization.
Yeah.
One, do you think his wife knows what that is about? Two, do you think he deserved to be discharged other than honorable with no rank, no pay? Um, how do you
I
think
think
that?
I think that his wife probably knows. It doesn't seem like she's out of the loop on stuff. She seems to be
Mhm.
pretty aware about, like a lot of things that go on with him.
More than
So
she
I think
should be for a wife? Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I think, like, so I would assume that he probably told her about it too. Like, doesn't seem like he needs to keep things from her. So,
True.
what I will say is that, taking away his benefits was the insult to injury that I think is going to push him over the edge, because it's like,
Yep.
oh, now I served you for decades and now I don't even get my pension,
Yes, he
like
explained that perfectly. You made me.
yeah, which is very valid. And like
Mhm.
for as much as we want to look back about him killing that guy as like a shocking moment, that guy was also a terrorist and he wasn't a good guy. He was going to go kill more people. So,
Look, if we're tallying the pros and cons of that moment, it's like a 7-8 battle.
yeah.
Like him
Yeah,
being wrong really only is up by 1 point, and it's really the
I
murder in front of
agree.
everybody part.
Agreed.
Like,
Honestly, that's pretty much it. And like had it been
and
Carly,
actually,
then he would have been fine. Nobody would have cared.
right, and not
Yeah.
even that. I'm not even gonna say that. Had he just not been wearing the suit, or killed
Yeah,
him with
that
something
too.
that wasn't the shield, there's
That's right.
about three or
Yeah.
four different things he could have did that nobody would have cared.
Yep. Yep. Yeah,
You know.
definitely. Well, and I think that the Countess saying, like she basically tells him as much. Nobody cares that you killed that guy. It's just that
Mhm.
the guys in the ties and the suits, want to keep up appearances about things. So
Yeah.
it's like it's just dumb bureaucracy. That's, like obviously he shouldn't have killed somebody in the cap suit, but let's also remember that those two people just killed his best friend,
Right.
and like yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily blame him that much. Those people were about to go kill more people, and he
Right.
just took out one of them. So,
That
okay.
that is definitely not the part that I think was bad. Like I said, the worst part of the entire situation, in my
Mhm.
opinion, is wearing the suit and or killing him with the shield.
Yes,
Other than
definitely.
that, bad guys know look. You know the price of the job when you took it, or
Yeah,
you knew what the job entailed when you took it. You knew what could happen, and so did
absolutely.
Lamar, for the record.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. And his mother even said so, like
Right, I forgot about
they
that scene.
yeah, his mom said he knew the risks and he was willing to take those risks. And
Hmm.
like it was Carly's fault. So Carly should have to pay for that,
For sure, for sure.
So
Yeah, I don't blame. I wouldn't blame John for hunting down Carly. Still,
me
I
neither.
still wouldn't blame him for
I
that.
think that
My
that's what
only
he's going to
issue,
do.
right? I think my only issue with John right this very moment, and it's not to err on the side of good or that part doesn't matter to me. It is, do you know who your enemy is?
Yeah,
That's it.
maybe not.
And that's my question. Are you
Yeah.
aware of who your enemy is? Because I don't think you do. Carly wants to know who her enemy is, but she's creating them as she goes. So it really doesn't matter who is her enemy today and who isn't, because tomorrow it'll be you.
Right.
But with John, it's like, are you aware of who your enemy is? Because if not, this can get bad for you really fast. Because you're new to this world. You're new to
Yeah,
the
he
whole super
doesn't.
soldier and yeah. he has this impression apparently that being a super soldier damn near makes him invulnerable, and
Right.
that's not the case, buddy. We've already seen 3 super soldiers die this season already.
Oh, he's
At least
certainly
3.
not. He's certainly not the tactician that Steve was. You know,
Correct.
Steve
Yeah.
would have gone into a situation with like with a very specific focus and a plan. He was always the man with the plan, right? So,
Yep. Man, you're right.
John Walker's not that type of guy. He just goes in and he asks questions later. Yeah.
I'm not going to comment on that, but yes, he is definitely that person. So, my other question, the other super soldier related stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So let's reference the young Isaiah Bradley and his slew of soldiers and that story he told about going to save the entire battalion that was kidnapped.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of crazy, right? That there were a bunch of other super soldiers that were kidnapped and one super soldier went and freed them all.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty good story.
Now, I'm not going to ask the obvious question of, was it wrong for them? We know it was wrong for them to do what they did.
Oh yeah.
But with the nurse in that story, the nurse who forged his paperwork and gave him the letters, and just thinking the entire Isaiah Bradley story, how do you think, of course, this is fictional, so I'm going to ask it this way. How do you think that would have went had he been not imprisoned? Not necessarily if he become Captain America or anything, just not imprisoned.
How do you think?
Do you think that his story is still relevant to anything going on right now?
Oh, certainly. Even if he hadn't been imprisoned, even if they had just tried to erase him from existence, like he says, without imprisoning him, that's still interesting because he's not a part of the history. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of like the biggest impact for me is his concept of like they're taking me away out of the history of everything. And, it's basically only because I tried to help people. And, and so I think that, if he hadn't gone to prison, then it would have still probably been a similar type of story. Yeah, a similar type of story of him, just like, he probably didn't get any benefits. He probably didn't get any compensation. He probably, he could have been one of those, disenfranchised war veterans, right? That, does a whole bunch of tours and then never gets any assistance from the government and has to, I mean, like that's a very relatable story as well, even without him having to go to prison. Yeah.
No, exactly. And I was thinking, like, imagine they don't imprison him, they release him from the military, and he ends up on the streets like Hancock. He ends up like Hancock on the street, and nobody really understands why he has these abilities, but it's just like, let him live. Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that would have been an interesting commentary in and of itself, in the way that we kind of treat soldiers after they've done their useful thing.
Yep. Exactly.
And so I mean, it definitely could have gone both ways, but I mean, either way, I think that there's a lot more material to explore in that character.
Definitely. And that's why I asked. I was just curious, what were your thoughts if he hadn't been locked up, how that would have went? Yeah. And for my side, I think he would have been still important, as you said. I am just curious to know, as we were just discussing, we have a couple of references already, but how that would go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would think that it would probably be pretty similar in the idea that the government just didn't care about him, and just, like tried to either ignore him, or he had to fake his own death, which he kind of had to, in order to be, to be free of them. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, like it's all very interesting concepts, and for sure.
Okay. For sure.
Do we got anything else? What else you got?
Let's see. So it's that Sarah and the boat, the boys, the boat. Sarah doesn't want to sell the boat. Mm-hmm. We're not sure if those are wings or a cap suit, and I'm excited to find out about that.
I think it's going to be an awesome cap suit, to be honest.
What if it's a cap suit with wings? Ooh.
I mean, that would be cool.
Or
too.
At least like jet propellers, like at least just a jetpack.
Or you have like the T'Challa thing where you can just jump really high now. Because he had the suit. The suit helped. He had the super serum thing as well, but yeah.
Yeah, I might say the heart-shaped herb, which And I know I think I referenced that at least twice, but just so we're clear for the people who have heard me reference the heart-shaped herb and the serum is derived from the properties of the heart-shaped herb. For those who do not know. So essentially, Black Panther is just like the vegan version of Captain America because it's all natural.
Right. Yes, the natural version of Bucky and Cap. Yeah.
Right, exactly. For sure. So, for the most part, I think that's all. I'm wondering, will we get anything else from Wakanda? I don't think so. And I think that's how we got the box because that was their exit.
Right. Yeah.
I really appreciate, again, the consistency of Sam and Bucky just having that moment, giving each other real life advice and appreciating it, not looking at each other like, oh, who are you to tell me that? Like, no, I appreciate you. Thanks, brother, so to speak.
Yeah, just having a genuine, authentic interaction instead of being like the butting heads guys.
Right. Yeah. Like, oh, I don't like you. I don't like you neither.
You guys are past that already. Like, y'all just be friends. Just be friends already.
Look, here, take this 20, go buy some drinks, get over it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but I think that's virtually it though. Their relationship. What do you think is next for John? As we exited, we saw him making a makeshift shield of his own. I think his name is going to be the Patriot, but that's another joke that I'm going to leave alone.
Oh man, yeah.
What do you think going on with that?
I think he'll definitely have that sort of offshoot sort of thing. Maybe he goes like vigilante.
For sure.
Maybe, the Countess helps. Obviously, she's going to be helping. But I don't know if he's going to be I don't know if he's going to be the bad guy for Bucky and Sam. I think that he might be trying to kill Carly. And then
he's still going after Carly, I believe. But I wonder what else will be on his head because we to Zemo and what he was saying about what the serum does, we've seen proof of what the serum does to people psychiatrically. And the psychology just gets all messed up. So I am curious how long before he loses his mind, and then what becomes of him at that point, or do they just smack a chip in him and control him?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, we might get more of him at some point. I don't know how, but they could bring him back. If they don't kill him off in the next episode. So I don't know if they will kill him off.
I hope they kill him off. That'd be cool.
I mean, I don't know if they should, because maybe they will. But to me, they've tried to really make John like a nuanced character. And so I don't know, like if they do kill him off, that's fine. But then like, does his wife deserve that? I don't think so. I mean, like,
see, that's why we shouldn't have been introduced to his wife. She doesn't matter.
Exactly. And see, that's my problem is like, if you're going to introduce like the people around him, and then you had him visit what's his name's family,
Lamar's family. I mean, I'm gonna say we didn't meet Lamar's family until he was dead.
Exactly. So you have all of these things that are kind of tied, like, okay, so if he dies, there will be ramifications for other people that are negative. And is it really worth killing him because he killed a terrorist? I don't know. I don't really think so. At least at this point, he hasn't done anything worth killing him for.
Yeah.
He isn't a good guy. Yeah, he's not a good guy.
He's not a good guy. He's not a good guy. But as he made the point, he was really doing his job.
He was doing what the government told him to do. Yeah. Yeah. And so it's like, I kind of understand. It's like, yeah, man, soldiers have to do some really terrible stuff, and they do it because they don't have a choice. And, he did have a choice to kill that guy. But again, like Lamar's family thanked him for killing that guy.
Right. And many other people have, and I'm sure will thank him, because that's just how it's set up. The enemy is whomever you were told is the enemy, not who did something to you actually.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. I mean, they could keep him around for a little bit more. I don't know how that would fit in, or they could just end it. That would be fine. But we'll see.
Just let him have a heart attack while he's making his shield, and we find him on the floor because the serum messed him up.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, I mean, is that all we got? Are you good?
I believe that's all we have. I really like this episode. I'm looking forward to the next episode. I wish we had more than 6 episodes, but that's all they are scheduled for. Maybe they'll give us a bonus. We'll probably get a making of episode the same way we did with WandaVision.
Definitely, yeah, for sure.
I would have liked a little more in this episode, but we got a lot.
Yeah, I think it was a much needed break of the pace. I hope that number 6 really hits the ground running. I hope it's a 1 hour nonstop, just, action stuff, because you got a lot to sort of.
Oh yeah, I need 90 minutes.
Yeah. I don't think we'll get 90 minutes, but yeah, but I think we'll probably get 55 minutes, and
I could rock. I could go with that. Yeah.
As long as they tie everything up, fine. I don't mind. I'm interested to see where some things are going. We still haven't found out who the power broker is. I don't know if that's going to be a loose end that they tie up. We still have to understand what the heck Sharon's doing, and yeah.
Other than trying to get Sam killed.
Right, exactly. And for what reason, we don't really know that yet. So I think
revenge.
It would be revenge, I guess, for him existing.
No, for him leaving her stuck.
Right. Well, I guess we'll see. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. We very much appreciate it. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. I know I certainly did. Please stick around. We will be back on Wednesday evening, where we'll be reviewing, I believe, episode 4 and 5 of Invincible. Is that what we're doing? 4 and 5 of Invincible. Yeah. And then we'll be back next weekend for the 6th episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Please stay tuned. Tomorrow, we're going to be having a special Exofathom episode with our buddy Keilyn here to review a movie called Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. It's about aliens and meditation and consciousness and all of that kind of crazy stuff. So if you're interested in that, that's on the Thinkering Talks page or Exofathom tomorrow night at 8 p.m. We also have shows on Friday night at 8 p.m. If you want to check out what Keilyn does with his podcast, If Numbers Could Talk, he is on at Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Please go follow him on his YouTube and Facebook page, If Numbers Could Talk. And it's always there on the Thinkering Talks page on Facebook as well. So yeah, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. Please feel free to give us some feedback. Let us know what you might want us to review in the future. And until next time, thank you for taking this trip through the Screen Time Continuum with us. For Screen Time Continuum, I am Nick.
And I am Keilyn. Thanks a lot, guys.
Good night.